offensive pieces when you guys step on the field, and how good does it feel that you guys are one of the best in the National Football League?
Well, Nate, I'm at 6-3. Obviously, we put ourselves in good position. We know we got a long way to go. There's a long way to go, but we got a lot of confidence, like you said. When we're rolling on offense, when we got that no huddle thing going a little bit. Philip was in control, spreading the ball around. We put ourselves in good positions. So now it's take care of business. If we've learned anything, we've learned to take them one at a time. I mean, it doesn't matter what's behind, what's way out in front. We got the Green Bay Packers coming in here next week, so we got to get dialed up and get ready for a good team.
It's a huge game. Coach, what's Philip Rivers brought to the team? I know you had time with him in San Diego. You guys have a strong relationship. What difference do you see from this Colts locker room this year as opposed to previous years now that Philip has joined it?
Philip is a unique guy. I mean, he's got all that. We all know he's got that fire and passion. There's anybody who knows Philip knows one of his favorite sayings is a Latin phrase, "Nunc chape," which is "now we begin." And, that's kind of a phrase we've adopted as a team. And, it's just this begin again. It's a constant, begin again. And at 38 years old, he's still bringing that leadership to the locker room, the fire, the preparation, the passion on the field for practice and the game, leading us in a significant way.
Coach, what about when he begins again to trash talk? I look at you, a very dignified, passionate, maybe underspoken person as a player, now as a coach. Phil is brash, and that Southern boy in him comes out. How do you two get along in that regard when he starts popping off at the mouth?
Oh, yeah, well, there's no question that, because he doesn't use bad language, he has all those dog gamuts and all those other phrases that we all love and appreciate. But actually, I feel like, having been with him before in San Diego, he's actually mellowing out in his old age. He's mellow. It's not quite at the level it used to be, but there's still a lot of fire in there. And you don't want to get him riled up. I guess, as the saying goes, don't poke the bear, because he's pretty dangerous when he gets fired up.
He is, and he's really, really fun to watch and a really good player. However, when you poke the bear after the bear's been poking you, that's how it works. You have to take some of that trash talk. And I wonder now, a couple weeks later, Coach, after number 17's attempted tackle of Ravens safety Chuck Clark in Week 9, was he on the receiving end of any of that trash talk, and should he have been?
Yes, it was, as you said, Kyle, an attempted tackle and an ill-fated attempt at that. But yeah, no, Philip, hey, I think he gave himself more trash talking than anything. Having that moment there, an embarrassing moment, right? But you got to laugh at yourself. You play 17 years in this league, and you have a few moments like that. You got to laugh at yourself. The guy's had a good chuckle. But thankfully for him, he's able to follow it up the next week, balance that out a little bit by passing Dan Marino in the all-time yardage thing. No. So yep. I think that kind of gets his ego back in place.
Yeah, Frank, and it's not like we here on Good Morning Football showed that play 90 million times on loop after it happened. We would never do that. I want to talk about your run game a little bit. No, never, ever. A lot of depth with your running backs. Last Thursday, it was Nyheim Hines, a guy that we've had on the show before he was even drafted. He's sort of near and dear to our hearts here on the show, and he was breaking tackles left and right all over the field. What do you see in him that makes him so special? He reminds me of that Danny Woodhead role, to go back to Philip Rivers. And how do you balance who's getting touches on a weekly basis? XOXO, a fantasy football player, owner.
I know fantasy football people don't like me because of the way we rotate our running backs. It's hard to predict, but we really do love all three of our backs. They each had a different spark. But Nyheim, as you said, if you had him on the show, this is a special guy. He's got this combination of speed, quickness. He's dangerous as a receiver. He's a great runner. He can run inside and out. So we love all three of our backs. He was explosive, obviously, Thursday night against the Titans on his birthday, on his 24th birthday. So, we expect to continue to rotate those guys as the season goes on.
No doubt about it. Nyheim, versatility and humility when I think about that young man. He is extremely talented. You mentioned it, Coach, your next game is against the Packers. And naturally, the first person we all think about is Aaron Rodgers. He's playing lights out. Some would say like an MVP, 26 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. As a former quarterback yourself, what is it like when you face a quarterback like that? Because He's not your typical QB, Coach. You know this. As a wide receiver, I would look across that field to see Aaron Rodgers. He's like a trained assassin with a football in his hand. So how do you stop him? Do you stop him, or do you just hope to contain him?
Yeah, I mean, it's more just try to slow him. He's a great player. We all have an immense amount of respect. And as you said, as a former quarterback, you know, you throw out those numbers, 26 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and just like that's commonplace for Aaron Rodgers. And that never ceases to amaze me, how a guy turns the ball over so few times as he does, with all the times he's pushing the ball down the field. I just think it's a tribute to who he is as a player and for how consistent he's been doing that for a long time. So, we're going to we want to slow him down. We want to try to minimize the big plays, and then through a variety of different ways, we have to try to disrupt him a little bit in the pocket.
Coach, I've got a multiple choice question here for you, because it's the way we're going to wrap it, and we know that you had a great NFL and college career. Nate mentioned that Boomer Esiason was your college teammate. We said that you led the greatest NFL comeback in history when you did that against the Oilers as a Bill. But in college, you also rallied the Maryland Terrapins down 31 points to beat the defending champion Miami Hurricanes. Here's your multiple choice. Between those historic games and option C I'm going to give you, what would you say? A was the greatest comeback of your life, B was the greatest comeback of your life, or C, you're sick and tired of being asked this question every single time you do any interview on any of these shows? Where are you going with this answer?
Probably would lean towards C. But yeah, probably would lean towards C. It's funny, though. I do get asked that question a lot. I will say this. One thing that I don't get tired of is to see and feel and experience how those lessons learned, the one play at a time, the team effort that it takes to do something like that. Just to see how that carries over, not only in football, but in our lives personally. I never get tired of that. In fact, that gives me juice every day. I just think it's good stuff. So continue to try to learn and grow from that.
Frank, you're awesome, man.
Sports.